Hello and welcome back to our tutorial series. On this episode, we're just going to do a bunch of basic edits to a portrait picture. At the end, if we've got time, we might even do a couple of different variations so that the client can choose which one they prefer. This picture was taken by a man named Polin using a Nikon D300S and a 70 to 200 millimeter f2.8. So we have seen this lens in use many times before, but this is the first time we've used a Nikon D300S picture. It's looking pretty good as it is, however, with the background, her hair, and her skin all kind of having a fairly even tone, the picture looks fairly flat. So what we might do is come in here with the contrast and just crank it up to give a little bit more punch and differentiation between the different elements. In fact, we might even come in here with clarity and raise that up, which always makes it look kind of grimy. So you got to come in here and start working on exposure and oof, that's pretty high, but maybe we can come back and fix that with a vignette. I'm thinking it's a little bit too flat in terms of color, so let's go with that. Let's do our typical 50-50. This was shot at a low ISO, so we don't really have to deal with masking out noise or anything like that. And her skin is so smooth as well as the background that fighting over masking isn't really worth our time. But let's come in here with the vignette. Now you guys know, you've seen me do it in the past. I'll usually drop this down to 20, come in here with the feather, raise it up to 80, and that's just not enough for this picture. It does a good job of bringing your attention to her face, but we might want to come in here and drop it all the way down to -40. And instantly that looks too extreme. It's really noticeable what we've done, especially with this wall here getting kind of dark in the corners. So I want to show you that there are different styles of vignette. We usually have highlight priority selected because that's what it defaults to. But color priority actually does a much better job of keeping the edge from looking really, really different. However, got this big black monster up here that we should probably do something about. So we'll come in here, reset our brush, maybe change our flow, and let's just raise up maybe a full stop of exposure and kind of see where that gets us. You gotta be careful not to make it look too obvious that you've manipulated things, but with a light flow like we have, you can get away with doing quite a bit of sloppy work because it's not going to be a big extreme line. I think that works pretty well to kind of fight against that. In fact, let's make a new brush and let's start working on some of the elements of our main subject. So I'm thinking that her eyes could use a little bit of extra sharpness. We will come in here. So maybe raise this up to 80 so we do get a pretty nice effect from a single pass. And we will come in here and just kind of focus on the eyelashes and the pupil. Let's also do her eyebrows just to kind of bring the whole package together. All right, it's looking pretty good. Make a new brush, reset everything. I think her lips looking a little chapped is kind of a problem. So let's bring back clarity. This is basically what we'd do if we were doing skin smoothing on someone's face. But this time, because her face is so smooth, the harshness of her lips is actually the thing that we want to combat. So something like that. Let's see. Let's actually bring out the eyes just a little bit more. Let's come in here with some saturation. Maybe do something like that, some clarity. And we'll just focus right on, actually, let's zoom in real quick. We'll focus right on the color of her eye. There we go. It has a pretty nice look to it. Let's call that good for now. Actually, let's jump in here with the spot removal. She's got a little bit of a couple of blemishes. These might be natural beauty marks. I am not actually sure, but I'm just going to pull them away for now. Her skin is wonderfully smooth, and even if these are maybe natural, beauty marks, it's hard to tell with everything else being so smooth. If she had freckles, we would leave those alone. But something like just the errant beauty mark, it's hard to know if she got some food on her face or it's a pimple or what. So let's just give it the benefit of the doubt and say that it's something that shouldn't be there. And we will see what this looks like here in a second. Should look pretty nice. Like I said, her skin is wonderfully smooth. A little bit of mascara or something down in here. This kind of retouching is always difficult because if you start doing it quite a bit, it only takes one or two little things like this to stand out, and it'll draw your eye immediately to it. All right, that is looking pretty darn good. Okay, so that's kind of a basic edit. This is where we would usually say, oh, it's all good. We'll hit the backspace key, say that's what it was before, hit it again, say that's where we are now, and we could end right there. But I'm thinking it might be fun to go through and try playing with the tone curve. I got a lot of feedback about its power because it's kind of a mystery to many people. In fact, I'm not even fully skilled at it, but one thing we can do with this picture, since it is so bright, I mean, it's, our skin is very radiant. It's, probably an overcast day because there's not any really harsh shadows here. But what we might want to do is bring it down and make it look just a little bit more moody. So let's put a control point there. Let's raise up the bottom of this here. And then as we bend this down, you have to be careful because it'll do extreme things with very little movement. Let's bring it down like that. It kind of flattens everything out quite a bit. Actually gives it kind of a less pleasant look. I mean, it looks nice, but the first one was very bright and airy and warm and inviting. And this one almost looks like she could be like hiding from someone. It suddenly starts getting kind of a theatrical movie kind of look to it. And in fact, we can even make that more extreme. One thing that I've told you in the past is that vibrance works on the middle colors and that saturation works on all colors. So if we start pulling this down quite a bit and then pushing this up to the same degree, we end up with a really muted balance, and it looks pretty nice. In fact, I think this picture, as it is looking really good. Here's the before, and here's the after. So now we've got a different look than we just had. We had that bright, sunny look. Now we've got kind of this concerned, maybe even a little scared look. Let's just go in here and do the old trick I taught you guys a long time ago of pulling exposure or saturation all the way down. It looks pretty good as well. It might be a little bit too cold, for lack of a better word. I know it's just black and white, so there's no real color temperature. But if we come in here with the highlights maybe, and add just a little bit, and I mean just literally a little bit of highlights, it warms it up. It doesn't quite make it a sepia image, but it makes the black and white look a little bit more pleasant. So there's 3 quick edits that we've been able to conjure up here. We've got a nice direct edit, something that looks a little bit more moody, and then a black and white with kind of a pleasant warm cast to it. So hopefully you like what you saw, and you'll stick around to watch another episode next Friday.